How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Gianluca, aka Dr. Calcagno. I am a family doctor currently working in Ontario, a new family doctor. I just graduated about a month ago now, so it's about a month and a little bit that I've been in independent practice. And I know that this is a video that I wanted to make for a really long time. All throughout my medical training and in residency afterwards, it's very hard when you're a student and a resident to some extent to know what exactly it's going to be like when you're actually out and working. And especially if you don't come from a background with other people around you that are doctors, as was my case, it's kind of hard to ask your preceptor some of these questions too. So I knew that in my first month of practice, I wanted to give an honest look at everything that's going on. It has been a very busy month. There is so much that I didn't expect that I was going to run into. And even looking at like some of the numbers and how much I'm working, probably a little bit more than I would have expected as well. So probably this will be the time in my career for the foreseeable future where we'll go over everything, top to bottom, and I'll timestamp everything. You could skip ahead to see what it's actually like working as in your own independent practice as a family doctor. So just wrapping it up for clinic today, grand tally is 26 patients, 3 different procedures. So we had some injections, we had a biopsy, had some PAPs that were done today too, and saw the entire spectrum of medicine here. So everything from CHF to pregnancy to newborn baby care, dyspareunia, tooth pain, just the whole gamut. All right, so now we'll get to the different parts. Scheduling comes first. I work Monday to Saturday, sometimes Monday to Friday, depending on the schedule, but office hours are 9 to 5, Monday to Thursday on average. And then I do Emerg on Fridays. Usually it's a 24-hour shift or 12-hour shift, depending on what I'm scheduled for on that particular day. Then I also do home visits during the week, if only I have patients that are very, very sick. And I do have some in my practice that I've been seeing that physically cannot make it into my office. And usually I'll have to make exceptions in those cases. Usually I try not to provide too many home visits during the week because it would be impossible to do all the work that I have to do while going to everyone's home. But for people with advanced cancer, for people that physically cannot move and need to be seen, that's typically when I'll make an exception and see some people in their home. And then finally is all the paperwork and the charting, so much charting. But basically that's about 3 hours per night as well. So usually between the hours of 10 and 1 in the morning is when I'll do all of my paperwork and emails and business stuff and all of that.
It's 5 in the morning, almost 5 in the morning. And on our way to work, rural Emerg, but stopping off here in Woodbridge to pick up Nikki because it's just a 12-hour today. My shifts are either 24 hours or 12 hours. Today's just 12. And from Niagara to where I'm working, it's about 3.5 or 4 hours. But if I pass through Woodbridge here, if I pass through Vaughan, I'll grab Nikki, and then that way she could drive us home afterwards. That way I still get a little bit of a weekend. I get Saturday and Sunday. So she's been really, really helpful with that. Good morning, there you are.
So just cleared the Emerg for now. It's probably a good time to catch everyone up. I had a whole bunch of questions before, Instagram, YouTube as well, about how to make Emerg work well with family medicine in terms of what to do after training and how comfortable I am and maybe you are if you're watching this video. I'll say that for myself, I definitely would recommend the mentorship program if you're not going to be doing a +1 year. The couple shifts that I've had so far and will continue to have for the next couple of weeks and months, it's really nice to have another doctor working here as well, especially when things get rough. It has been a busy summer so far. I expect that it will continue to do so when the weather keeps it well. And for those nights where 2 heart attacks at the same time and then another one comes in off the stretcher from the ambulance, if I was here by myself, it would definitely be manageable. We do have access to something called the ER physician peer-to-peer support. So it's a 24/7 hotline where an ER doctor could pick up the phone and call a colleague
somewhere else and get some advice on what to do in a situation. But it's good to have someone here for your backup and to teach you and to show you things. So I really like it so far. It is a common occurrence for many of the docs working in the center right now to come from a little bit far away, driving 2, 3, 4 hours or further. They do cover gas, which is really, really nice. And I think the thing that I like the best about it is that it allows you to really just do a totally different type of medicine. Doing my office Monday to Thursday, I love it. I love doing family practice and seeing people in my office. But I think that it would get stale quickly if that was all that I was doing. And this allowing me to do some acute care things and even some procedures as well. We did a half toenail wedge resection today for an ingrown toenail, did that here in the Emerg. And it's interesting and it keeps me stimulated, and it's something that I like to do, and that way it makes me miss going back to the office on Monday. So that's something that so far has worked well. I'm going to keep going with the mentorship program, and then I expect probably around January is when I'll probably go full-time without the mentorship program. You do make a lot more money, so the rate's about half when you're doing the mentorship rate compared to when you're working by yourself. But in my case, it's kind of a safety first and making sure that I'm actually comfortable here before I go up to full-time by myself. Update. Long day at work, not just for me, but for Nikki too. But the thing is, Nikki gets to drive home now, and look, I get to take a nap. All right, next is studying. And I know some people might have in the past thought that, you know, when you graduate, you're finally done residency, you did all of your exams, there might not be a lot of studying that you still need to do, but that hasn't been my case at all. There's definitely studying that happens every single night moving forward. I'll say that my situation might be a little bit different because remember, I'm full-time family medicine, but I also do Emerg rurally, and I also do a little bit of palliative medicine too. So one thing that I've been doing is reading through Tintinelli's emergency medicine textbook. There's 2 different versions you could choose to go with. I believe it's the 5-year emergency docs that study from the Rosen's manual, and then Tintinelli's is typically used by the 2+1 doctors. Really trying my best to read through the manuals and formulate my differentials and be able to think quickly on my feet, which is something that's really important when you're in the Emerg, if you can imagine. The other thing too is just reviewing resources for palliative medicine and proper management with opioid medications and when to use what exactly is something that I definitely needed a little bit more work to brush up on, and it is something that I'm currently kind of looking up and studying in my spare time. All right, so now the ins and outs of running the business and being at my practice. Few things to say. I might have been a little bit naive possibly, but originally I had imagined that my first visit with a patient was going to be a 10 or 15-minute visit, sit down with the patients and ask them a little bit about what their history is and formulate their patient profile and get everything done in their chart just to get to know them. But what became very clear to me early on is that that could only be done for a few patients, and certainly sometimes that is the case. But many people have been coming into my office, unfortunately, without having seen a doctor in years, like people 10 years, 20 years or more, and a handful of medical issues that need to be treated the exact same day. At least from my perspective, or at least let's come up with a plan. So a lot of these visits that I had thought might have been closer to 15, 20 minutes, sometimes do go longer than that, and that's been very, very difficult. The flip side to that is that, as I've told you guys about in videos in the past, is that we're taking applications, we're about to close that off because so far we've gotten more than 1,000 applications, and many people have been calling to check in on the status of where exactly we are in the queue for calling them back. And it's very difficult for people to imagine this, but imagine that I have like 1,200 applications right now in a drawer in my office. And for me to take the time to actually bring everyone in and see them, and at the same time be seeing people in follow-up, it's going to take weeks or months to call everyone back. And I'm trying my absolute best. My staff is working crazy hours to go ahead and do that as well, and they're amazing. But people are definitely getting frustrated with the amount of time that it takes to call people back, and it's unavoidable. We're trying our best to get through it as best as we can, but that is something that I've seen. People saying that they've had to wait 4 weeks, 6 weeks to get a call back from our office to see them, and I really am sorry that that's the case, but I promise you that we're really trying our best. I'm in the office Monday to Thursday, sometimes even Fridays if I don't have an emergency shift that day. So we're moving as quickly as possible, and to anyone else that will be eventually accepting patients for their roster, just know that, yeah, like you take 1,200 applications and you see on average maybe, 15 meet and greets per day. Do the math. That's months to get everyone into your system. All right, so next is finance, and I think a lot of medical students or residents might want to know about this section here. difficult to wrap my head around in the beginning. So my overhead per month, when you include fees for the office, overhead for the staff, cost of medical supplies, college fees, insurance, everything like that, comes out to about 10 grand per month is what I need to come up with to pay off all of my overhead. And then one thing to know is that when you first become a doctor, you get your billing number, and sometimes that could take a couple weeks after graduation too. You don't get paid for a couple months after you first start billing. So for example, the billing period between July 15th and August 15th gets paid out on September 15th. So if you think from July to September, the cost of your overhead will keep building, but you don't have the money actually to pay it. And it's coming because you're seeing people, but in the meantime, what that means is that you have to pay your overhead costs, you have to pay your accountants, you have to pay your lawyer fee to incorporate and get everything set up. So what you're probably looking at is taking out additional loans from the bank to cover the cost of your overhead, small business loans or anything else that you can do. Or hopefully if you still have some money saved up from residency. But at the same time, you still have to keep up with your payments on all of your interest from your medical school loans, because that's still building up, and everything else. So it's been difficult to be able to meet the overhead costs in the beginning, but I imagine that this should get better once things are up and running and I get a regular pay schedule on a monthly basis. I'll say that in terms of everything that I'm doing right now, if you are doing full-time family medicine plus Emerg like myself, and it's a little bit different because I'm not getting paid my full Emerg rate right now because I'm not independent yet. You're probably going to be bringing in somewhere around 30 to 35,000 per month before overhead, before taxes, and then before interest payments that you're making on all of your student loans. So you do that math, 10,000 gone right away. And then interest, whatever it is that you're paying, and then rent and everything else. But yeah, as time goes on, I imagine that 35,000 per month number will continue to go up. Overhead should eventually cap out and stay the same once the full size of your roster is achieved. So I'm not complaining about it at all. I'm just saying that right now it's definitely difficult because you're still not getting paid and the cost of all of your overhead keeps going. So that's what I've experienced so far. I will say just really quickly, one thing that I've tried to enforce on the channel over and over again throughout the years is that you are not going to be losing out on a lot of money going into family medicine compared to the majority of other specialties. Yes, many of them are very, very lucrative, but you can do very well in family medicine. You just need to work very, very hard and long hours like you would in many other specialties as well. And a lot of what you're seeing right now in my numbers is these are the original numbers. As time goes on, there are things that I will do and the pay will continue to go up. I want more people to get into family medicine. And I think we need to change the narrative away from family medicine doctors don't make a lot of money to family medicine doctors get paid, and they get paid similar to exactly what it is that they are doing exactly. And I think that's a pretty fair thing to say for any specialty in medicine. But yeah, for now, no major purchases, have not moved, haven't changed my living accommodations at all, haven't had any lifestyle creep at all. Feels like I have just as much money as I did back in residency. I've noticed no change so far in the first month of me working as a full-time doctor. All right, and now finally, my last part about my video and what it's been like for the first month in full-time practice is how I'm doing, general check-ins. If any of you stuck around for this long in the video, I'll say that overall, I am feeling okay. Work-life balance has definitely been skewed all the way over here. So we have a lot of work, not a lot of life balance, if I'm being honest. Many of my friends probably haven't seen me in the last little while, but I've still been talking to them, FaceTime and texting as best as we can. Haven't really done anything in terms of like on a weekly basis recreationally. I try and go to the gym still 5 times a week, so that's my me time, and I do like doing that. And my little brother is moving down to Florida for work. So as part of saying goodbye and sending him off, I took him to Newfoundland. That was the week before I started working full-time in my office. So I was able to do that before all of this craziness started. And thankfully, because of that vacation, I feel like I'm still doing really good. I built up my reserves of getting stuff done, and I had a great trip. We went to go see the humpback whales, and I will probably make a video on that trip at some point in the future, because one of the best experiences ever. Had a lot of fun on it. But I think that's probably going to be key moving forward. Every couple months to take a small vacation. we probably get at my office somewhere close to 5 or 6 weeks of vacation per year that we're allowed to use. And thankfully, there's a few other doctors to work with me, so we could cover each other when we're on vacation, or we'll try our best to do so. But if you're going to be working Monday to Saturday right now, if you're going to include charting and everything that happens after you leave the office, you're probably somewhere closer to 70 to 80 hours per week right now, or more. Probably a good idea to get out every now and then and clear your head. But between everything going on right now, one thing that I really like about how I position myself is that I really do feel like an old school family doctor from like 20, 30 years ago. Because there's so much that I have going on at the same time. We do prenatals, I do procedures, I do Emerg, I do, like, it's great. And I do really love my job so far right now. And I hope it doesn't sound like I'm complaining about this at all. It's been quite a first month. I imagine that we will keep going at this pace for like the first 3-4 months to get everything set up. But even beyond that, I think my schedule stays busy for the first 2-3 years of practice. And preventing burnout, yes, all those things I talked about already, taking vacations, exercising, seeing people as best as I can. But I do want to normalize the concept of work hard. Like, if there's something that you want, and I want this, I want to have an amazing office, and I want to be able to work and see people and train myself to be a better doctor as well, then you got to get in there and you got to put the hours in, and that's what I'm seeing right now. So that's where we are, and I hope you guys learned a little bit from this video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. More videos coming soon when I can, and everyone take care.